You are what you eat. In America, a majority of our food is cheap, processed, and unhealthy. This has happened due to a public policy known as the Farm Bill. 1 in 3 adults and 1 in 5 kids from the ages 6 to 11 are obese. 60% of our calorie intake is all processed. We are the first generation in history to have a shorter life expectancy than the previous. Despite what the government and food industry wants you to hear, the American individuals are not at fault. While it's true we have the freedom to choose what we like to eat, governmental policies have made it so almost all our choices, especially the cheap ones, are unhealthy. This is why we believe the most urgent issue for Congress and the new president to discuss in 2017 is the Farm Bill. The Farm Bill is a law that helps shape American nutrition and agriculture. It serves to provide farmers with a guaranteed source of income by providing subsidies and incentives for planting certain crops and is renewed every 4 to 7 years by Congress.
Farm subsidies are issued by the federal government to individual farmers to lower the cost of growing staple products like corn, wheat, and soy to be sold in American markets.
It was created in 1930 during the Great Depression to aid struggling farmers by using tax dollars to subsidize farms, creating many new jobs in the United States and making food more affordable for people. Fast forward to today, and the Farm Bill and its subsidies still thrive. Yet instead of using these tax dollars to make healthy food affordable, subsidies favor unhealthy foods. These subsidies dictate how we eat and the national health of our country. They also determine who can afford a healthy diet and who cannot. Our story begins with corn, the most subsidized food in America. Since corn is so low priced, almost everything on the supermarket shelf and in the American dinner menu has corn derivatives. Corn is in our bread, sodas, beer, pancakes, candy, chips, burgers, and much more. Even our livestock are now only fed corn, which they cannot digest properly, leaving them artificially fat and sick. Even if you don't see corn in the ingredient list, processed corn has more than 30 different names and is in the majority of processed foods. You are what you eat, and basically, we are walking stalks of corn. High fructose corn syrup, a sweetener made from corn, has replaced natural sugar in many processed foods. It is linked to diabetes, heart disease, cancer, and obesity. Americans consume 60 pounds of high fructose corn syrup per capita every year and consume 3 times more corn syrup than any other country. Unhealthy processed foods are now extremely cheap. Now Twinkies are cheaper than carrots and buying soda costs the same as bottled water. Processed and fast food businesses now dominate the American diet. In 2015, Americans spent an average of $2,500 just on fast food. While talking to My Tank, a certified dietitian, we learned that processed and packaged foods tend to have more excessive amounts of sugar, salt, and fat. Eating excess of any of these will and already have a negative impact on our nation's health. The sad truth is that many of these foods are a staple part of Americans' daily meals.
And we're eating more processed foods, we go out more, fast food is no longer a treat, right? It's something that you do several times a week because it's convenient.
When we asked teens from the ages 14 to 19 at our high school, Long Beach Polytechnic, 80% replied they'd rather eat
junk food,
while the other 20% preferred
Healthy food.
junk foods has taken over our diets. Healthy foods receive little to no subsidies, and less than 1% of fruits and vegetables receive government aid. Since 1995, the government has spent $19.2 billion subsidizing corn and soy junk food ingredients. Yet only $689 million was set aside for apple subsidies, the only fruit to receive a sustainable subsidy. Many farmers are encouraged to grow unhealthy crops because they cannot survive the minimal money earned for planting specialty crops. The abundance of cheap unhealthy foods in America is a bigger problem than many think. The history of the Western diet shows as the amount of processed foods Americans consume increased, so does the staggering escalation of American obesity. In the last 30 years, the rate of obesity has tripled. The obesity epidemic is a national issue that can no longer be ignored. Joe Biden even called it more dangerous than terrorism. By 2030, close to half of America will be obese.
Obesity in young children has more than doubled in the last 30 years, and it's grown more than 4 times higher for teenagers.
1 in 3 kids born in 2000 is on the path to diabetes, and a quarter of elementary students already have high blood sugar and are at risk at heart attacks. 15% of the kids from the ages 6 to 19 are obese or overweight. Obesity impacts the lower-income Americans the most. Younger, poor, and less educated people will eat more processed foods because they cannot afford healthier choices. To make the matters worse, paying low prices for fast foods now will ultimately result in paying expensive medical bills in the future. The government spends a whopping $190.2 billion a year on obesity-related illnesses. Obesity in America sprouted from the surplus of cheap corn and other unhealthy ingredients, leading to a mass production of processed and fast foods. This all originated from one government policy, the Farm Bill. There are countless flaws in this policy. Recently, government campaigns have been pushing Americans to buy more nutritious meals.
If we can make school lunches better, if we get you guys educated and your families about what to eat, these are all things we can control, and it doesn't take millions of dollars and a whole bunch of legislation to get it done. We don't have to count on people passing stuff. Thank God.
However, they mainly subsidize unhealthy foods they don't recommend eating. As you can see by this chart, the government recommends eating more vegetables and fruit than sugar, oil, salt, and protein. Yet, the foods they don't recommend eating receive more subsidies than these healthier crops. So while the government is telling us to eat healthier, they're making being healthy more expensive. Congress agrees to vote for unhealthy subsidies because of the influence of major food companies. Congressional campaigns are often funded by companies that benefit from the Farm Bill subsidies. This quid pro quo creates a law where both sides are happy, except for the obese Americans.
Okay.
No.
Dear.
The most urgent issue for Congress and the new president to discuss in 2017 is the rising obesity epidemic along with the Farm Bill. Obesity will only increase unless we, America, takes action. So,
Get that corn out of my face!
Congress has to stop subsidizing unhealthy foods and instead subsidize organic specialty crops, such as fruits and vegetables. In addition, the government must tax unhealthy foods such as sugary drinks and processed fast foods. This way, fast food will be more expensive while healthier options will be more accessible and affordable. This way, more people will be encouraged to buy groceries instead of eating out. So, go spread the word. Stop eating processed fast foods and support small local farmers. Remember, you are what you eat. Who do you want to be?